All right. This first slide is the title page. Go to the next page. What is UDL? Go to my script. UDL has three principles, giving lots of ways to understand, getting people excited in different ways, allowing variety when expressing oneself, providing multiple means of representation, make sure the information can be shown in many types so everyone's preferred way is there. This could include pictures or things you hear for visual or auditory learners. Like today, we will be talking about universal design learning, which means that the way teach differently. We'll talk about it when it is and how what it is and how to do it well with things like using different ways to share knowledge or get students excited about learning when everyone in class on an equal playing field so all students can express themselves however they feel comfortable and act. UD has three principles giving lots of ways to understand, getting people excited in different ways, allowing variety of expressing oneself, providing multiple means of representation, make sure the information can be shown in many types so everyone's preferred way is there. This can include pictures or things you hear for visual auditory learners, like using videos instead of textbooks. There's a citation. Ways to keep students interested in learning are called means of engagement. This includes giving them choices and letting them have control over their own learning process, like picking topics or how they show what they know. Doing this can make them more engaged because it feels like their education belongs to them. Teachers can make their classrooms more fun and inclusive for everyone by using different ways to teach. This helps students who have trouble learning in one way or another. Teachers should give kids options on how they should show what they learn, like talking about it, writing an essay, making a video presentation, acting out a play, or using artistic means. When teachers encourage creativity and new ideas this way, they help kids learn better. Now we're going to move on to traditional versus UDL planning. 1 second here. All right. Traditional lesson plans are different from universal design for learning, UDL, because UDL emphasizes flexibility and giving learners options. With traditional lessons, everyone is expected to learn the same way, which can lead to disengagement, excuse me, and low achievement among diverse learners who may need a different approach. At Livingston Collegiate Academy, I have only seen this approach being used in special education. This approach can benefit more students and throughout any and all schools here in New Orleans. Traditional learning, traditional lesson planning doesn't always accommodate individual learner differences or provide support for students who struggle. UDL recognizes that every student is different and actively plans instructions to meet the needs of all learners from the beginning. This means anticipating potential barriers to learning and including multiple ways for students to interact with the material, express themselves, and engage in their lessons. Traditional lesson plans are different from the universal design for learning because UDL emphasizes flexibility and giving learners options. With traditional lessons, everyone is expected to learn the same way, which can lead to disengagement and how achievement among diverse learners who may need a different approach. At Livingston Collegiate Academy, I have only seen this approach, like I said, to special education. Traditional lesson planning doesn't always accommodate individual learning differences or provide support for students who struggle. UDL recognizes that every student is different and actively plans instructions to meet the needs of all learners from the beginning. This means anticipating potential barriers to learning and including multiple ways of students to interact with material, express themselves, and engage in their lessons. We're going to move on to implementing UDL. How do we implement UDL? Go to the next slide. All right. So here's a scenario. I'm creating a lesson for my students and using UDL principles before teaching. I think about how to help all learners in the best way. I have a class of 20 students. Some of them like to learn by seeing, that's 8 students. Some prefer hearing things, that's 2 students. And others need to move around while being learned. while learning. That's 10 students. You have 3 new kids who don't speak English well, so they might find it difficult with writing assignments. One kid can't hear very well, another has trouble paying attention a lot in the classroom, and one student is really worried about everything all the time. So this leads to multiple means of representation. Some students might have trouble understanding a lesson in this situation because they learn differently by seeing, hearing, or doing. Some may not know English well and struggle to write. Another a student can't hear properly. One has a short attention span, yet another is very anxious. They each need different things to learn effectively, which can make it difficult for them all to follow, if only taught in the usual way. To help students with different learning styles, teachers can use pictures or videos for visual learners. For those who have different difficulty hearing, providing subtitles helps the following along, and using objects to touch and move around benefits kinesthetic learners in understanding the material better. Right. So that was implementing UDL slide and multiple means of representation. All right. Next one is multiple means of action and expression. Multiple means of action and expression. Some students may have trouble showing what they know because of language challenge, attention problems, or anxiety. To help them do better in class, teachers could try different ways for students to show their knowledge, such as speaking instead of writing. At Livingston Collegiate Academy, Chromebooks are being used with a program called Read Naturally to check how well kids read and understand things. Based on that evaluation, they can move forward or more on previous material until they get it right. Working with classmates can help students show what they know in new ways. For those who have trouble writing, using special software that turns speech into text can make communication easier, even if the person speaks a different language or has other difficulties. Teachers can use these teaching methods to make sure all students have a chance to show what they know and are good at it. This helps everyone feel included and supported and able to do well in class. Some students may have a hard time getting involved in class. This could be because they don't know enough English words, struggle with writing assignments, or can't hear well. They might also get distracted easily or feel anxious. To help these students engage more, teachers can use different teaching methods like using pictures and videos for visual learners, hands-on activities for kinesthetic learners, or captions or videos for auditory learners. Teachers can also use computer programs that turn speech into text to help ELLs write better and interact digital tools like educational apps to make learning even more fun. Then the last one is equity. These teaching methods make sure that everyone can learn by giving different ways to show and do things. This helps students who like pictures, sound, or technology choose how they want to learn. Doing activities with help from machines also makes it easier for people who speak a different language or have trouble moving around while joining in the lesson. So let's look at those 2 slides that we just went over. Multiple means of engagement. That slide. And then equity. And the conclusion, ultimately, when we integrate the principle of universal design for learning into our curriculum planning, we can cultivate a more comprehensive and inclusive learning atmosphere that accommodates every student. Furthermore, shares during classroom lessons will be done effectively. Approaches from all sides are by offering versatility, value, thought teaching curricula for better overall results across the board among students, regardless of whether underperforming or high performing pupils. Let us persist vigorously in pushing towards equitable resource allocations, accessibility, wherever education is concerned, via utilization of universal design for techniques. Thank you for listening.